sound right, boys.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going live from Arkansas tonight with Lynn Dorman, independent ghost hunter and host of Southern Fried Paranormal. You are watching the Caffeinated Cryptid podcast with Bobby Dizzle. And as always, check me out there and please subscribe. I have another field note here. On the 21st of October, there's something called the Tennessee Valley Haunts and Legends Expo. I will have a vendor booth there. It's at the Nashville Fairgrounds in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'll be giving away cat balls, ghost hunting cat balls. I got 100 of them. Come get one for free. All it requires is a YouTube subscription. So enough about me and all my free stuff. Oh, I also have 500 horror movie stickers given away to little kiddies and grown folks, and some probably trick-or-treat candy, full-size Snickers with a rich house. So enough about me. Please subscribe, share with your friends. Everybody listening, please share. We've got Lynn Dorman, Southern Fried Paranormal. We've got videos. We've got pictures lined up. Lynn, what are we talking about tonight? It is your show now. Live from Arkansas.
I want to talk about that poor cat.
What was that?
I want to talk about the poor cat.
Okay.
You were showing cat balls, and I was feeling sorry for the cat.
Yeah, he's kind of pissed off.
Yeah, I bet he is.
I wasn't ready for that. I was thinking about something else. I was like, what? What cat? There's no cat. Wow. Okay. That's that kind of party. All right, I'm in. Let's do this. You caused me to choke. What are we looking at with these videos?
Well, my job is done. Okay. Now, as a setup, this is Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, if you've ever heard of it.
I haven't, no. I saw one of the pictures you had of a little girl on the
It's
rock
one of the most,
nothing else.
Now, the lady on the rock, by the way, I'd like to say hello to Kevin. He is laughing. Hello. They're in the chat room. So I'd like to say hello to them. But Bachelor Grove Cemetery is one of the most haunted cemeteries, some people say, on the planet. I think Paris has it beat, but it's one of the most haunted cemeteries in the United States, especially for the size. It's only a 1 acre cemetery, but it's been desecrated for years, abandoned in the late 80s, up, and nobody, it was given by will from the owner of the county. And you know how Cook County around Chicago is. They don't take care of much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so this place has been abandoned, desecrated. People have gone in there just to get drunk. There's all kinds of junk being put in there about they're doing X-rated things. This area. The locals are just treated as a grown-up place. You couldn't graduate high school, I don't think, without going in there and kicking over a headstone or having sex with a cheerleader in the place. It's just been crazy what's going on there. That's why it's haunted. The spirits are angry. They want an owner. They want somebody to take care of it. Now it's less haunted because the county is taking care of it because several of us forced the issue. This is now, if you want to throw up the lady on the stone picture.
All right, hold on.
We can start there. I will say
Bill's
this
got some,
picture is
got
copyright.
some good pictures here.
Yes. Okay. There. Right there. The lady on the stone. This picture is copyrighted by Judy Huff and Dale Casner. It has been checked at least 3 or 4 times by photographic experts, including Bagans. Judy Huff was on his little talk show he held in his museum several years ago, and he had his experts check the negative photo, and they said it was untampered with. And you can still see this in quality form. It was taken by a 35 millimeter camera with infrared film back in 1991. And you see she's a little bit translucent, and nobody knew who it was, including Richard Little, who done some research there, and knew that Dale did not know who it was because this was just an accident. The picture in there. I found out who this is. And what I'd like to do is go from this photo to the video marked First Contact.
First contact. Here we go.
What you're hearing is a cold spot, or my K2. Yes, the ambient temperature K2.
This is a K2 meter with a temperature sensor on the top of it.
There's no sunshine. It's kind of cloud over the sky. I'm making it dark, and I'm in shade from it anyway. So it's not like it's picking up any heat from the sun. My body's not close enough. Because of temperature change. There's a cold spot moving around in this area of Bachelor's Grove. This is video 2. The cold spot investigation.
It's just moving around.
If anybody's here, reach out and touch the little blue probe out of the black boxes in the little chair handle. Thank you. Do you like making my K2 meter ambient temperature buzz? Go ahead and make it buzz again if you want. Come on, I know you can do it. Temperature under this tree is in the probably mid 80s. As you can see, if you walk in the front gate of Bachelor's Grove, Go arc to the right. You made the temperature go down, then you made it go up. As I was saying. Good enough, just the middle of the afternoon. Long way before sundown. You like coming over here and touching my hand? Or do you like the sound my meter makes? Yes, you're touching. You just touched my hand.
That's crazy how it's going back and forth like that.
I'm glad you're here. It's a nice relaxing day. It's not too hot. It's just a beautiful summer day. I'm glad you came over and said hello.
That meter doesn't do that.
Did you get some energy from all the
Even
goings
with
on here
the
today?
severe temperature change,
People, the lawnmower and the weed eater.
it's not that loud.
Weed
It's a
whacker,
very
somebody could
soft
call it.
tone you can barely hear.
It's loud now. Beep, 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 beep.
And I mean, you
Or do you
put it in
decide
a
to take a
refrigerator and
break?
bring it out to an 80-degree room. Yeah. The only way I can imitate this noise is to physically put my finger and thumb on the sensor and just, touch it on and off. That's the only way I've ever been able to take the sound. I talked to people who may help make this K2 meter, and they said there's no way that it does this. It's totally bizarre. It has to, basically, it has to be paranormal.
Okay. Video over.
It's like something's driving energy to it.
The hell was that?
I turned the video on.
It's touching it.
I saw her daughter the other day.
Somebody is reaching out and touching it.
Ricky, I want you to be my dad.
Somebody standing right here likes to reach out and touch my hand and arm once in a while.
She loved it. She still
And you're feeling it. There's no reason at 85 degrees you get goosebumps.
She works in Riverdale.
Really?
Restaurant.
There's no way that happens.
No, man.
Yeah, I wish you were my dad, I wish you were my dad,
Well, you know what? Because
This is the third time I've gotten this on video.
bend down, and then slam it in there, and then pat her on the ass. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
That's exactly what I was thinking when she said that. She's of age now. But I said, hey.
Said, who's your
It's
daddy?
been, like 2 years now since
That's gonna be fun.
She's
to play.
19.
Oh, this is going to be a ball.
Part of the conversation, somebody else
You
walked
two do
into the
know this is going to
cemetery.
be on Facebook, right?
One of these days, I'm going to say, okay, Mary, do you want to go out? Let's go out. Let's go play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her mother. My mom's asking about you. My mom's asking about you. See,
Oh, man.
tell her I said hello.
And see, the whole time I was in the shade.
Wow, that time I actually felt dampness on the back of my arm.
You know,
I thought it felt rain.
This stuff has got to be.
Yeah, we're under a tree. And there's those clouds are thin. It's not producing any rain.
This has got to be sugar free.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's so much sugar from them women.
Hell yeah.
Sweet
Hey, did
pussy
you see
like
that stone over yonder we brought back
Oh,
from Joliet?
yeah. By the way, you do know this conversation's on video, right?
I do now. You mean all, even the nasty stuff we were talking
Yeah.
about? Oh,
Hey,
Lord.
John.
Okay, where's the video at?
John.
Making it right here.
We got a video in the camera?
Yes, exactly. Who your daddy? Who your daddy?
Always one in every
I'm
crowd.
seriously thinking about starting up a...
Yep.
Are you done with that video?
Yes, done with that video.
All right.
That to do that, I can, the only way I've ever been able to imitate that sound it makes is to sit there and do my fingers like this on that probe. That's the only way I've ever been able to imitate it. And this in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery is one of the only places I've ever seen this done. The only other place was when I moved the spirit from Bachelor's Grove to the Humphrey house. And they touched
went away.
it there, the same ghost did. And so that's totally unexplained. Now, in other video up, now you don't have to show the whole video. You can fast forward through the dull places if you want to.
I got bad news. They all disappeared again. That's crazy. Yeah. Let's put that one back up.
Apparently there you go. Okay. This is, like I said, created by Dale Casimir. I keep having to give him credit. He was not given credit when this photo was shown on Ghost Adventures, the talk show, whatever they called it. And he was a little bit upset about it. Then the next time they had Judy Huff on there, and since they were talking to her, he didn't say too much. But this is copyrighted by him. What you
I've been seeing
heard
this
was
picture for a long time.
This picture was taken in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Now, move the picture a couple. Look at this girl's head here. That's something else. That's another copy of this same picture. Okay, hold it right there. Libby May is the daughter of this person. And you see right there, written in old print, buried at Bachelor's Grove. This is part of the death certificate of a young lady who died 11 months old and is buried at Bachelor's Grove and was not exhumed in the late 80s because for no family members in the area at all, to say nothing of being able to afford body exhumed. She is still buried at Bachelor's Grove. But see if you can find the one with it's a yellowish picture with a couple in it.
All right.
Right there. Look at the hairstyle and look at the dress of the lady on the stone. If you look carefully at the lady on the stone, you'll see the dress is kind of translucent, but also has polka dots on it. Hairstyle is the same. Basically, it's the same person. You can see there. Remember, this taken with infrared film, so the color's not true. And the other one's taken with was taken in 1863. So you know what photography was in 1863. So you can't compare colors. But if you look at the profile of the face, hairstyle, and the fact that both the dress this lady is wearing here on the stone and the lady in the picture with her husband on her wedding day is the same polka dot dress.
There's definitely similarities to the face.
Yes.
Definitely see that.
This is the lady on the stone. She died in 1881. That was her husband, John Humphrey. The reason she comes to the cemetery to Bachelor's Grove, that's another picture of John, is because her firstborn child, who died in 1865, again at 11 months and 4 days old, is still buried in Bachelor's Grove. And Judy Huff just happened to catch her popping into the cemetery to pick up the spirit of her firstborn child and carry her away before the cemetery's nighttime kind of bad spirits come through. So she wouldn't have to be in that cemetery alone with the kind of evil spirits.
So she came and got her before the exhumation?
And this is the headstone. No, she come and picked her up every night. She'd pop in there sometimes at odd times of the day, but she was in there almost every evening right at dusk to pick her child up. These headstones you're seeing is where John and Amelia are buried in Orland Park Cemetery, several miles from Bachelor's Grove. John is also buried with his first wife on one side, his second wife on his other side, with their separate children that are buried on either side of their mothers. John was in the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, there's his mother, was the most powerful person in Cook County outside the city of Chicago. When he got elected state senator, he hired a secretary, of course. Got to have a staff. He was having an affair with this woman. Almost the entire time he was married to Amelia Patrick. And now they're buried on each side of him in the afterlife, which creates a few issues.
It's kind of awkward.
Yeah, it was a pretty good scandal. His wife died in 1881. He married his secretary, who he had been having an affair with for years, 6 months after his first wife died. So that was rather scandalous.
What's this picture here? Is it the same lady?
That's a good question. Or, since it is a smaller person, is that Libby May?
The one from the
Libby
grave?
May had two siblings. Yes. Or Libby May had two of her siblings who also died young. Would appear there occasionally. So were these the siblings of Libby May Humphrey appearing?
Well, what is that? Wow.
You tell me.
It's either pareidolia or somebody walking.
Yeah, and there was no people standing
There we
there.
go. That
There
could
was
be
no people near
pareidolia,
there.
but it's
That's
crazy looking.
I believe that's slightly outside the cemetery. It is. It could be pareidolia. It could be a spirit. I told you I was going
That's
to come in here
wild.
with something interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I love pictures, visual aids. I remember seeing that when it first came out. How wild it was that she wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Like it's total accident, and it was in the background of the actual. It was taken off the cemetery. It's quite the accident.
And here
And
you saw a
unsure
badger.
what that is. You can see the note on it. Nobody knows exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's two people standing in the cemetery paying no attention to what the camera picked up. They have no clue whatever's there. That's just people standing over there talking.
I looked at it and said it looked like a badger sitting over there.
And whatever that is. Yeah. The back is known for that. Lights flashing, portals opening. Amelia opened portals and entered the cemetery. But I was there by myself and saw it from a distance. Another time, a dog, a friend of mine was there with a dog, and the dog perked up his ears and was watching down the fence before the portal opened because it was creating a disturbance the dog could pick up. And two of us stood there and watched the wind go up a fence. No wind blowing anywhere else in the cemetery, just in a small circle. There's basically a ball of wind come up and got almost to the gate of the cemetery with 20 feet from where we were standing. Wind dissipated, the portal opened, and you could see a little bit what full body apparition, but you could see a little bit of a ghostly figure come walking out of where the wind was, go over to the patch of light, and disappear.
And did you see like a portal actually open, like lights?
Two of us standing there watching this. It was daytime, so it could have been at night. There may have been lights.
I think that'd be crazy to see a portal.
I have since that. One night I basically taught Libby May how to speak, and also taught her how to move. She followed me home a couple of times, and one night she didn't follow me home, but she came to the house. She could move around, away from her mother, and came to the house and was running up and down our hallway at 3 o'clock in the morning. The wife wakes up and here's a child laughing and running up and down the hallway outside our bedroom door. We have kids, by the way. And she said, Amelia, come get your child. I've got to go to work in the morning. And within a minute or so, a portal opens up over our bed. Amelia comes out, grabs the May spirit by hand, and then the portal closes with a loud pop. Of course, air moving back in where it wasn't. And I woke up. It felt like I thought a transformer had blown out outside, and I realized that the power was on. And I said, okay, that was just a portal closing. You know, we're talking about, fighting my face. There was a portal opened up, and the spirit came out of it. Of course, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't have a camera in your hand.
But did you say you saw a hand?
Yeah. Amelia appeared several times at our old Chicago house. She one night dropped in. I had a friend of ours, Mikey. He and I were talking downstairs, and Amelia checked in on my wife, who was upstairs, and she saw her figure stick her upper body into our bedroom just to see how my wife was doing.
It'd be pretty wild to have the same ghost come down the hall.
Which I just thought was, yeah. Well, we had a living ghost. We had the former owner's son was there. He actually kept Libby May out of trouble. There was a painting that he made, the only one we had that he actually painted in our living room, and sometimes you could hear him if Libby May got too close to the painting. He'd run her off by stomping on the floor, which is always fun having heavy steps in your house when the only 2 people in the house are sitting there looking at each other, and you hear heavy steps coming in.
Yeah, you hear him down the hallway. Thump, thump.
So, yeah, basically. What I did, I finally talked to them before I left Chicago. I talked to Amelia and Libby May. I said, look, you 2 did not lead happy lives at all. I said, why don't y'all go see the world? Amelia never saw the world. She never traveled all that much. So I said, why don't you just 2 of you go? Get out of this abandoned cemetery. You can both leave now. Libby May can move on her own. Y'all just go. Just go away from the world. Go see everything. Because you can go if you want to. And they very rarely come back to Chicago. You've got to go in there and call them by name, and they kind of got to know you. Well, they're happy where they are. She's got her house, the Humphrey house, now closed. They used to open up for tours, but those photos of the wedding pictures, I took a photo of a photo, and that came from the Humphrey house, and that was the house that was completed just as Amelia died. But the kids love to go in there. I moved the spirits one time. I mentioned it earlier. There was a psychic, deep psychic, quotation marks here. Mm-hmm. In any kind of sarcasm, very well meant. He was having an event at the Humphrey house where he was charging people. Give them the information I just gave you and information for free. He doesn't like me doing this. He's threatening to sue me. Because he doesn't out for free, because he has to charge for it. But he was there, and I took Libby May, and because he wants to claim domain over the ghost. The Forest Preserve outside the cemetery was going to build some cabins so people could stay there, for a weekend or something. Him and another ghost hunter started screaming at each other, wanting to book those cabins every weekend for the first year after they were built. So that they could bring people in and charge more than the Forest Preserve was going to charge them for them to stay there because they give them a hosting account. And they argued so long, and they said, no, we're not going to do this. And they pitched a fit, And the Forest Service said, "Again, we're not building cabins," and cancel their plans. And you cannot bring tours into Bachelor's Grove now because you got to cross. Forest Preserve does not cemetery, but they own the property to get there. You have to cross through about a quarter-mile Forest Preserve to get to the cemetery. And they will no longer allow paid tours to go in there. They've actually stopped tour buses and tried to give the driver, the tour guide, and the customers tickets for this.
How reliable is seeing that actual apparition? Is that guaranteed?
It's yes. What, to go in there?
No, if you were in there, how
in
reliable?
the paranormal is guaranteed. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Well, of course.
I've gone in there and gotten nothing. I've gotten absolutely sometimes I've gone in there. That day you saw me in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I was in that chair was snoozing. Because I'd been there about an hour and a half and got nothing. This day, I was out of the house. I was under a shade tree. It was only about 80 degrees. And to me, that's comfort zone. I was sitting there and half asleep. Later started going off. I was just in a cemetery chilling out.
I would go to sleep under those conditions. Passing out.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple planes going through. You can hear a little bit of traffic noise in nearby highway and relax. You can. I have gone to sleep there before. I just had the meter on to see if there was any reaction, see if I pick up temperature changes, and I did. I picked up a rather massive temperature change. In fact, it was acting impossibly to a change. Yes, but what Libby May, of course, at basically a year old, wasn't that tall stand up, but she was there, which was kind of amusing. Now I'm trying to figure out a way to load the other videos because we can load the one up that's got more of the meter going off. In fact, you notice on the first video, First Contact, that we went interactive there. I say, can you please, just go ahead and play with the meter and start on the meter.
You can put some cat balls out.
I'm wave my hand. I didn't have cat balls at the time. Well, I've never a male cat, but
yeah, these things are fun. I got them to give away at the convention to little up and coming ghost hunters.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Why don't you talk about your convention for a minute, and I'll go upload those videos again and see if we can get to them this time before they disappear.
All right, yeah. See if we got anybody in the chat. I don't know who's in the chat still.
Okay,
yeah, we'll do
you know what? That video's back in about 30-40 seconds.
All right. All right, who is in the chat still? We got Kevin. We got What Is Cooking Now. Wendell. His lights are flashing. I wonder why those lights are flashing. I hate there's so much not turbulence, but disturbance in this one. Kevin's here. Number one. Where are you, number one? Jack Stevens is here. I think the Verizon guy's here, messing up the internet. That's the network. Why is the network? Yeah, this one probably will not make the public. Well, you live and you learn. It's some fun conversation. I like talking about that picture. I never did think of that being an actual. Anytime you can tie a person to a famous apparition is kind of cool to me. Kind of, it's more for my own amusement at this point. I hear thee. This guy thinks he's in the Bible. This is like a Zoom meeting. Fun fact: this is actually better than Zoe Zatar's Zoe Zatar's pre-interview. At least nobody's smoking and things like a weird porn's about to start. He's loading up videos from his other device. So what this says. Load them up. So it's pink. How's it pink? Okay. That was pink. Hi. I'm just going to sit here. Look at the ghost. Ooh, that one looks like a panda. I wonder if you can do like an eternal mirror with these. Hang on. Where's my tab? I bet you can. Hang on. Well, let me do a StreamYard on StreamYard. Come on. Oh, here we go. There's the eternal mirror. There's, look at, there's thousands of them. How many of them are there? It's exactly like it worked. Glory and praise.
Hello.
Hello. Sitting here messing around.
All right. Go ahead and play the unexplained before we lose it again. And I've got some really slow internet, so I apologize to everybody. There's not really anything I can do about it.
Oh, here we go. That is loud. It's all in my ears. Is this Bachelor's Grove?
Yes. Same location, except this time the meter is on the headstone of the plot.
Why is it pink?
I was told this tone is impossible. I was told this is impossible. This cannot happen. That's what I was told by the people who designed this meter. What you're hearing is totally unexplained and physically impossible.
Turn it down a little bit, but yeah, that is. Something's driving that energy to it.
Yeah. Something is touching temperature probe. The only thing I say is we have a spirit here playing my temperature like it's a flute.
Said the bagpipe is broken. Yeah, kind of what it sounded like.
Yeah. The only explanation I've got is that Libby Bay was playing with it and changing the temperature on that probe.
Does it start
By
back?
the way, the other video was shot. Yeah, it starts back. You can go ahead and move it forward if you want to. Skip over a slide. The other video you saw the first time ago was made with the same video camera. That video you just saw is made with a full spectrum camera, which of course is picking up all the infrared light the sun's putting out. So yes, everything also picking up some UV light.
Okay, that
So
makes
you get
sense. I wonder.
purple from UV and red from IR, and what do you know? It's pink.
Sorry, phone call there.
Just start back up in a second. Say you can fast, you can afford if you want to.
I'm trying. That sucker's stubborn. Play it. Well,
But it goes on and off several times.
oh, there we go. Oh, he dropped. Come on. Here he comes. It's been on and off a couple of times there.
Mm-hmm. I'm back.
Yeah, I was like, where'd you go? He dropped off. I was like, whoa, he left.
I'm back. I just dropped off.
Oop. Video slow responsive. I think it's coming from being hosted over there. That's a loud K2 meter there, Duff.
Yeah, that not all K2 meters. Well, what is that beeping and noise? That is the K2 meter. This is a special K2 meter. You can't even get it nowadays. That's been modified with a temperature sensor that's supposed to get a mild tone when you have a significant temperature change. It's not supposed to sound this loud.
Have you tried it with
And
like
there's
the?
no way sitting on a headstone with nobody touching it, they'll sound up that way.
Have you tried it with like
Yes.
It'd be cool to see that happen with like a laser temperature reader at that same time. You know what I'm talking about? Like they use it like on fry cooks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Yeah,
kinda
the
cool to
trouble
see.
is, what would put the laser on?
Yeah, you never know. Just put it on the K2 and see if it something in between there. I think the issue there, Duff, is the temperature changes so drastically, like in one spot during the day. That doesn't happen that drastic.
The temperature changes all day and all night. If you have maybe a 5 or 6 or 10 degree change, you have a slight tone from this meter, a very slight tone. I set it in the refrigerator for a while, and it then pulled out of the refrigerator. Remember pulling out of about 40 degrees and putting it in about an 80-degree room, which was a 40-degree change. And you have a very light tone coming out you can barely hear.
Heard some geese.
This loud, the only way I can make this meter sound off is to physically touch it with my fingers. That's the only way I can make it sound off like that. Is to physically put my fingers on it.
That pink glow looks like a Wes Anderson movie. That's crazy. Even though I know it's IR.
That's why I do most of my ghost hunting is with a full spectrum camera. It makes it really haunting looking. McDuffie says that the sunlight will do it, but if you'll notice, it's not on the ground, and the sun is not going to make that huge a difference in temperature, especially in the day.
Duffy likes to give everyone a hard time. He tells me I'm going to hell. It's okay. He'll be right there with me in his Yowie mask.
Well, this is a little bit different from talking about a cryptid. I've actually got something here that the paranormal.
I do all the paranormal.
Explain this.
I do all the paranormal. Cryptid is just like the main focus because it's the most fun for me. In October, all my shows are going to be
I'm the other way. You see, I'm not in any direct sunshine here.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
We got it.
Yeah, McDuffie, no offense taken to McDuffie. I'm just trying to explain what the situation is, and that's hard to convey with video unless you have some background. The sun wasn't that hot, and there's just no way the temperature changes that radically.
Yeah,
and I've tried to
degrees.
debunk this video myself, and the only way I can repeat this video is to touch the probe with my fingers.
Make it go up like 30 degrees all at once.
Okay.
Right. You zip it, and it makes this loud noise.
I know they're generally, well, okay. They're generally not that loud. Just from the ones I've seen and messed with.
It's not supposed to be that loud at all. It's not designed to be that loud. It's just it puts out a high frequency, mild sound that you can hear if you're in the same room and it's quiet. Theoretically, in that cemetery, as noisy it is, the slight temperature changes, 4, 5, 6, 10 degrees, you're not going to hear that meter go off. The traffic noise is too loud. People talking would be too loud. You wouldn't hear it. And what can make it go off that loudly and that often, and with the tone changing, like I said, the only way I've been able to ever repeat this is to physically touch it with my fingers. That's it. It's the only way I could ever repeat this. But you saw my hands were nowhere near it.
Mm-hmm. You walked up from 10 yards away.
Yeah. Now, do you see the other video I posted, or did it disappear?
It's still here. Here we go.
Okay, Mark Andrew Jackson.
There it is.
Now, in this video, I think instead of a K2, I'm using a millimeter. And instead of being at Bachelor's Grove outside Chicago, I'm in New Orleans.
Here on this table?
New Orleans.
Yes.
Can you repeat that, please?
Right.
Turn that up.
You said if that's a white, no, because I politely asked you to. Okay, your milligauss is increasing here. You're at a 4.2.
Come. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did it drop so much?
What?
4 to 2.
Right.
Is Mark
Yes,
still
was
sitting
struggling
in her
to.
chair?
The mega gloss
Yeah.
is measuring the strength of the, what it's picking up.
Thank you very much. Just keep sitting
You
there,
see, it's
Mark.
going
on
back
your
up now.
Mm-hmm.
4.0 milligauss, 3.9. Just sit down and relax, Mark.
That is high pitched.
Millimeters measuring megagauss, electric
like the
charge,
inside
and
with
of
the
course
air
the
conditioning on?
temperature is what you're looking at.
Ooh, that's hurt my ears. Had to stop that.
Yeah. Just
What'd you call those? The mega what?
Can you repeat that, please, Mark? Are you
Mega
chilling?
gauss. It's the
Megagauss,
amount of
okay.
static electricity in the air. Megagauss. I should be picking up 0.
Mega gauss.
Hey, Mark, I'm gonna let you just. I'm gonna let you just sit there. Go ahead and relax.
Good.
You hear I was interacting with an incorporate voice there named Mark.
Mhm.
And we're actually talking.
This is a hotel room?
Yes, this is a hotel room in the Andrew Jackson Hotel in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay. I see the Andrew Jackson thing now. I was thinking you were talking to Andrew Jackson at first. I'm like, then it said Mark. I
Sorry.
was like, who's Mark? Is that Andrew Jackson's middle name?
Talk. No.
1, 2.
It was. There's nobody in the room. My wife and I. And on Echo Box, we have a male voice who calls himself Mark.
Mark? What kind
You
of
said
box are you using?
ghost.
Like a REM pod or not a REM pod, but an oscillate?
Are you trying to say Mark?
No, this is Echo Box.
Echo box.
Echo Box. Dana Roberge. Big beard.
Hello.
What you need are cat balls.
Okay, Mark, you're a little bit shy of the flash camera, aren't you?
What you got in your hand there?
The mail meter.
Or is that the? Oh yeah, it's the same thing you had earlier. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going back across the street.
Did you ever?
Mark.
Mark. He was sitting in that chair in the hotel room where my wife and I were staying at the Andrew Jackson Hotel when I was there for a paranormal investigation over 2 nights. And yes, I was in the very haunted Andrew Jackson Hotel investigating all night long for 2 nights. And
I need to
that
find out about
evidence
that.
came from our room. That's how the people who were hosting it contacted me, and I couldn't get the money out of my wallet quick enough to reserve a room.
So the whole place is haunted, or is it just like the one room?
There's 3 or 4 rooms more haunted than others. There was supposed to be one upstairs of the one we were staying, across the hall and upstairs. This was an outside room. It was a building outside of the main hotel, and probably slave quarters in the day. But we were we went upstairs and wasn't getting a whole lot of anything up there. In the meantime, Mark was in our room right there, and he actually was watching Game of Thrones with my wife as she was binge watching it while I was out investigating. There was a couple of the rooms there haunted. It's quite haunted. One of them, a guy was there that's done some TV work, and he recorded without using Echovox or anything else, just just recorded it because he heard it with his ears, a loud hiss. I mean, it sounded like except a lot louder than that. On his voice recorder.
Mm-hmm.
And we recorded several bleeps and blurbs. Somebody'd say something. Somebody'd move something. They'd set a meter off. But that was in the room we were staying in. I actually picked up Mark's voice, and he volunteered. His name was indeed Mark. And we had
How did you find out he was
interactive
watching
conversations,
Game of Thrones?
which you just saw.
Mm-hmm. How did you find out he was watching Game of Thrones?
My wife picked the voice up because we got where we'd walk in the room and say, "Hey, Mark," and he'd speak back, "Hi."
Which this is going to sound stupid. Which season was it? It wasn't like season 8 made him mad.
It was later on in the seasons because my wife had not. We did not have HBO at home, and she was watching it, binge watching it, of course, on the internet in the room.
I can't imagine being a ghost and watching all Game of Thrones in season 8 coming along, not being able to turn the TV off. Like, what is this? What is this bullshit? They didn't follow through on any of the storylines.
What can you imagine sleeping in a hotel room?
Knowing it was haunted? I've been to Savannah a few times.
Savannah's very haunted.
I've never slept in one of the scary ones before.
I didn't sleep, but I spent the entire night in the old. Now they sold everything out of it, but the night before they started selling it, I spent the night in the French Quarter Wax Museum and got some incredible stuff there. One lady was there; she had her spirit guide, and the ghost in the elevator of the museum, the car elevator, which is just basically about a 14 by 20 room, you're going to put a car in. Because that's how they loaded their trucks from the brewery that used to be there. And the ghost in the elevator there did not like the spirit guide of this lady and asked if she could step outside. So she went out of the room and got away from about 20, 30 feet from the door. And finally, her friend said, "Can we bring her back in?" And again, the Echovox said, "She can come back in, but he cannot." Talking about her spirit guide.
That's very specific.
Well, one guy was sitting when had a K2, not the temperature one like we were just watching, just a regular K2, and it kept flashing. He thought I was faking. He was a little bit of a skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
He thought, "Okay, your cell phone is doing it." I said, "My cell phone is turned off." So he held the K2 to the cell phone, nothing. Held it next to me, nothing. Went up and down my body, nothing. But when he took a step back to where he was standing before, he picked up something. It started flashing. I said, "Who is making that light flash?" And I think he said name was Frank, I believe. And I said, "Okay, Frank, are you?" With a woman's voice, said Frank. I said, "Frank, are you making that K2 flash?" "Yes." And the guy holding the K2 almost ran. Had the next room not been very dark and very large, it was a room for meetings, weddings, whatever. It was a large room. We're talking about 60, 70 feet by 60, 70 feet. The second floor of the museum that was totally unused. But, and again, a former brewery, so there's just a huge open room. He did not want to run through this big open room where the lights were all turned off, and he couldn't turn on a light, and he didn't have a flashlight with him. So he decided at the last second not to run. But when the spirit manipulating his K2 spoke, he was ready. He was ready to go.
Skeptics will change their mind pretty quick.
Then, yes. Another skeptic went down to the people that was hosting and said, I was a skeptic when I came to him. I believe that guy upstairs talking about me has convinced me ghosts exist. So they were happy, and everybody left. I did not know this. I was up by myself. And I said, okay, I'm not getting anything here anymore. So I went downstairs into the main part of the museum. I did not realize there was nobody there but me and the host. They left one host guy from the group hosting it, the person staying there, they work from the museum, and they were in the control office playing video games. I was locked in a wax museum in the middle of the French Quarter for 2.5 hours alone with no lights. All I had was, a couple of little red and green sensor lights and a meter. That's all I had. I had, of course, had a flashlight. But I was not using it very much. I was usually just looking into the viewfinder of the video camera.
Now, did you know it was the wax museum, or did you find out the hard way?
Oh, I knew I was going into a wax museum. It had a lot of the history
I was going to say, if you
of New Orleans
didn't know you were going
wax,
to a wax museum in the dark, that'd be a rough one.
They also had you had to go to a lower, you had a ramp that went down about 10 feet lower. And what they had was all the Universal Studios monsters. The Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. Mm-hmm. They had all that there. And I was going around seeing all this New Orleans history in wax, including Napoleon in a bathtub, by the way. And then the Universal monsters. And I did not know I was on. And I was also interactive with the Frank who was following me around. So I was talking all the time to a spirit in a wax museum.
Wait, you were breaking up during that, so you were getting followed by a spirit you thought was a person?
No, I knew it was a spirit because he was coming out. It was coming through the Echo Vox. The Frank who I spoke to earlier that was messing with K2 meter. And I've talked to a lot of paranormal investigators. They said there's no way a lot of people wouldn't go there to start with, even with somebody else. They said being locked in a wax museum alone for 2.5 hours, they said no way. Seasoned paranormal investigators said no.
I mean, I guess if you're used to it, they're not going to hurt you. I don't know that I could do it,
right?
But
most people couldn't. So anybody says I can't do it, okay, that's fine.
2 hours is a long time.
But I did.
2 hours is a long time.
2.5 hours. 2 hours in pretty much darkness, roaming around a good quarter mile of hallways in a pretty good wax museum, pretty good sized wax museum.
With
it's been torn down and cleared for condos. That was weird night, especially the one with Napoleon in a bathtub. Most people that don't go to New Orleans very often don't realize that when Napoleon was basically tossed out of France.
Mm-hmm.
There was people in New Orleans that were friendly to him and were trying to get him to move to New Orleans before he was exiled to what that island he was exiled to.
Corsica.
The French government did not, Corsica, I believe, they did not want him going to New Orleans, which was at the time, I believe, a French colony. Or yeah, I think it still was belonging to the French. Yeah, right after. That was right after Napoleon sold the Louisiana Purchase to the United States.
Mm-hmm. Did he ever come to America?
He was supposed to come to New Orleans. No. He was supposed to.
I didn't know.
One guy that was a real fan of Napoleon built a house for him. It's called the Napoleon House. It's actually a restaurant now, but they won't allow him to modify the inside. So it's just like it was when it was built for Napoleon. Now they serve a darn good po' boy sandwich at a good price, and you can sit in a former haunted mansion that was built for Napoleon. He never lived there, but it was built for him. And you can go there today and have your po' boy sandwich or pork chop sandwich or any of the other New Orleans.
I think that I would probably take my chances in a haunted wax museum for a good po' boy. In my honest opinion, I love a good po' boy. You can't get one in Huntsville anymore. The last good one I had, I made myself out of some fried catfish my mama made, and I toasted a bun. I toasted the bread on a skillet. wasn't 100% authentic, but it sure was good. I think poor Lynn's internet's having it. Oh, internet's having a time. Yep, he's gone. Wait, he's back. Let me get a catfish po' boy, please. Here he is. I love po' boys though, like for real. I must be a po' boy myself.
You would love this place. If it's not very busy, they would look. A hurricane or just a bird. Have you got any questions about anything that you've seen, about any of the photos or the videos?
Not really. I've just been sitting back here listening. Like the podcast was developed to hear stories. I'm just hearing stories. I'm kicked back, doing what I do. I do like the hearing more about the inside of. I like hearing more about the inside baseball of Claudia, Libby May.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know there was an actual backstory there that anybody knew about. I just thought it was a famous ghost photograph that I've heard about forever.
If you want to look up some of the history of the photo, go to Ghost Research Society.com. Dale Kazmarek, that's his group.
Oh, yeah, I had him on.
Creator of it. He has been investigating. He's been investigating the paranormal since 1970.
I had him on about 2 months ago, and he's one of my October Ghost Hunter shows I'm going to air. He talked. He's going to. He talked all about the Crybaby Bridges for a while.
About what?
He wrote a whole book about Crybaby Bridges. The haunted bridges around across America. It's like a theme that every town has. That was pretty interesting. Right. Yeah, I'm going to have him. I'm going to air his during October as well.
He's a great guy. He's a good friend. Like I said, he's been in the paranormal since 1970. Where were you in 1970?
I was not in 1970. I was not there.
I was in high school. 70 was my freshman year in high school.
I was negative 13.
That's how long Dale has been in the business. Negative 13.
Yeah.
But Dale's got a lot of stories.
I was just not.
He's going to be on my show the first week of October, the Thursday before his Paracon on that Sunday.
Didn't he just tour England and Scotland?
Yes, he was this summer.
So, that's what I thought. We called him the week before he left for that. That's what it was.
Ah, okay.
See,
I had him on
a lot of
after he'd only been back for a week.
I had a lot of I did a lot of pre-recording and I got too far ahead of myself, so I had to stop. Sorry. It must have locked up on you.
Oh, okay.
I had to stop recording so many episodes because I got like 2 months ahead and I kept forgetting what they were about.
Yeah. I can understand that. But Dale's a great guy. He's a great guest. And like I said, he's going to be on your show in October. He's going to be on my show the first Thursday in October. So we'll both be seeing him. He is.
Sorry.
When I say he's going to be on the first Thursday in October, he's just booked that. It will be a live show.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we're going to talk about his Paracon, his one-day Paracon that coming Sunday on just south of Chicago, and a working brewery, and he advertises it as an artesian well, which is where they get their water to brew their beer.
I was going to say, isn't he in Chicagoland?
Yes.
He's
from Chicago.
April
of course,
26th.
I lived in Chicago 14 and a half years. A lot of people forget that.
Wow.
April 6th. Yeah, that was before he left.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Kara Phillip from up there? From Ghost Hunters?
So
Have you ever heard of her, Kara Phillip? I think she was from Kara Phillip. She was actually from Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters. She was on a couple episodes. She runs like a haunted jail up there, haunted prison. She's from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. What, the Joliet? I believe the Joliet prison?
Yeah, Joliet prison, yep. She's going to be on October 1st, but it's going to be live.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah, she's pretty neat. I met her on another show.
You'll have a lot of fun with her. Yes, she is. You'll have a lot.
Drop my phone.
So looking forward to it. I may be sure I watch that show.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely post it. Her and she'll probably share it too.
Now another. Yeah. So there's another place. Well, I got a lot of places I've investigated. I've investigated in Georgia, Chicago, and some of Illinois, and definitely here. If you look up the Allen House in Monticello, because you remember me telling you about the map, Star City is about halfway between Monticello and Pine Bluff. And if you look on a map, you'll see to the southeast of Star City is a lake. Now, I live about a half mile from the edge of that lake.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that a while ago, just below
So,
Arkansas
so
Pine
yeah,
Bluff.
everybody cry for me. Everybody cry for me. I live on 4 acres in the woods. The neighbors are barely in screaming distance, and right down the street is a huge state park with a fishing lake.
In Arkansas, Bigfoot
So
everywhere.
everybody can feel sorry for me right now. Bigfoot everywhere, and I live very close to a pretty good sized creek, Cane Creek, and also right down the street is where the Cane Creek runs into the Bartholomew Bayou, and the Bartholomew Bayou is the longest bayou in the world. And it used to be 25,000 years ago, where a riverbed, of the Arkansas River, but the Arkansas River changed course about 25,000 years ago. So, of course, it left a massive hole in the ground where it used to run and was filled with rainwater and became a bayou.
I'm looking it up, Google Maps right now.
And the fishing lake, they diked up the waters of Cane Creek, and so they accepted the water. Cane Creek passing through, they put a dike up, stopped the flow of it, and it became a rather nice fishing lake. So the park you're looking for would be Cane Creek State Park. Cane Creek State. So if you're talking about with Bigfoot, there's a lot of woods right now. There's a lot of farms around here, but there's a lot of just out and out wilderness where Bigfoot could survive if especially knew how to fish or capture the animals. Like deer walk through my yard all the time. About 5-6 weeks ago, I walked out my front door, and I thought a guy was standing outside my carport looking at me because the eye seemed higher than normal. So I thought, okay, there's this guy, almost 6 feet tall, looking straight at me in my carport. So I got to looking, and it didn't move. So as my eyes got adjusted to the darkness, it wasn't a person. It was a huge buck deer.
Oh, it was a deer?
Yeah, a big deer. So there's plenty of game around here. There's deer shot close by my house every year.
Bayou. That is a big creek. Cane Creek.
Yeah, you can look up Cane Creek's a big creek. You got Cane Creek, you got the Cane Creek Lake or the state park, and then Bartholomew Bayou. They all meet just maybe a mile from here. Mile and a half. The other end of the lake from where my house is on a hill. Just basing this, I didn't want to get too close to the lake because you worry about flooding or whatever, or gators. There are some gators in that lake, and there's one in the bayou. So we live on a hill. All we have to worry about is Pierce Copperhead.
Yeah, you don't want that river to flood. You're in that little basin, the Mississippi Basin.
No. Yes, I am.
Just close enough. End up on the news.
Arkansas has 3 different types of geography. You got the mountain range, the plateau, and then you got the Mississippi River Valley, which includes the Arkansas River Valley. And basically down here, we're not much different than Louisiana. We've the heights, even on this hill, we're only about 75, 80, maybe 85 feet above sea level here.
Damn, you're basically like in New Orleans.
Practically, I'm only maybe 75 feet. New Orleans is maybe -5. The French Quarter is on the highest of New Orleans. A lot of New Orleans is below sea level. I think the French Quarter is maybe about a foot over sea level, or two over sea level, and we at about 75 feet on a good day here above sea level. Yeah, about 75 feet higher than New Orleans. Of course, I'm only a 6-hour drive going the speed limit. If you're in a hurry, I can get to there probably a little bit over 4 hours. Hey, I have a 2006
I've never been to Louisiana or
Dodge
Texas.
Magnum with. Really, I've never been to Texas. As close as I am to it, I just haven't had the motivation to go to Texas. The wife and I plan on. There's a few haunted places I can visit, and I'm not going to go on vacation without going to a paranormal spot. Of course, now I'm also
that
about
and food are it for me.
Hour and a half from the spot where yeah. But I'm about an hour and a half from where Bonnie and Clyde were shot and killed.
That was in Mississippi, wasn't it?
And
Missouri.
No.
Why don't I know that?
Louisiana.
Kansas?
Northern
Louisiana.
I'd
have got there eventually. It had a 1 in 50 chance.
No. Louisiana. Also in northern Louisiana, East Monroe is called Poverty Point, and that's the old Indian village there. And some of the white plantation owners are buried there. And I was in there's 3 headstones. They were saying a max of about 7 people are buried. Anywhere from 5 to 7 people are buried there. And I wasn't getting a whole lot. Finally, the lady who was there, Sarah, got interactive with me a little bit. And then her husband came in with only a quick statement. He said, I was standing there trying to talk to Sarah, and a male voice come up and said, "You're standing on my grave."
Ooh. I had
buried beside her in an unmarked grave, and not knowing that was a grave, I was standing there, and I was literally standing on his grave. So I apologized and moved. But that'll give you a start when you have a voice come up and say, "You're standing on my grave."
Like an EVP?
No, well, I got it over Echo Box.
Oh, okay. It's on the voice box. Standing on my grave.
Yeah, that was yes. Yeah, standing on my grave.
Standing on my grave.
And that was just absolutely crazy.
I'm looking over here, scrolling through all these Google Maps. That's what I do half the end of these shows. I'll start looking at Google Maps where everybody's talking about. Like, how do I get there?
Yeah. So look up Poverty Point sometime, and you'll see this got a grand old history. There are that you had a bunch of Native Americans that were hunter gatherers. They didn't gather in a village. And all of a sudden, they built this huge mound in just a few weeks, moving hundreds of tons of dirt to build this mound all of a sudden, and all these little campsites where they had fires. And why people went from hunter-gatherers to all of a sudden a semicircular, looked like a theater seating pattern of where they had fires. There are rumors and theories that, and it's supported by copper ore missing several, that they've measured it, and there's about over 300 tons of copper ore missing from a copper mine that is very old up in Lake Superior area. The thought is that someone mined that copper ore, put it on barges, floated it down to Poverty Point, and those were not houses where they had fires, they were kens. And that's where they processed the copper ore and made 99.99 pure copper ingots, loaded it up on an ocean-going ship, and took it to the Mediterranean, where one of those ships, Syria, I believe, they found it about 15, 20 years ago. And they had 99.99 pure copper ingots on board. So they checked the copper, because there's only one place you can, on the entire earth that you can get copper that pure, and that's from Lake Superior. And this was found on a ship
the natives
that was sank 3,000. No, this was sunk by, it was 3,000 years ago this ship sank. The Native Americans were processing copper for the Minoans off the island of Crete. And this was before the volcano exploded and destroyed the Minoan Empire. And if you studied any theories of Atlantis, that's the theory of Atlantis. That's the most popular belief now, is the Minoans were Atlanteans.
I got to look that up tomorrow. I didn't know about that.
Mainly because
I may have heard something about there being copper from America overseas, but I don't know what. I can't remember what.
They got it from the Lake Superior area, and they got tin from Great Britain, England. They found some old tin mines in England they could not explain. It was before there was any kind of civilization, before Stonehenge, in Great Britain. So the theory goes that the Minoans mined tin from England, present day England, mined copper from Lake Superior, which, by the way, the Great Troll one lake 3,000 years ago. And instead of the Great Lakes emptying into the St. Lawrence River, they do today at via Niagara Falls, lakes emptied into the Mississippi. And the Minoans knew how to sail up a river, because about 6 months out of the year, the winds come from the south, and you can sail up the Mississippi against the flow, where of the 6 months you can't. So they would go up the Mississippi when they could, mine the ore, and when the wind changed directions, and you could actually sail down, just take the currents, would take you all the way down to Poverty Point, where they could sit there and offload, process the ore, load it up into ocean-going ships, take it to Crete, and then melt it there, mix it with tin at a formula of 4-to-1, 4-to-1 copper, four copper and equals. When you do that mixture correctly, you have the Bronze Age.
Sounds like some Graham
and that creates the Bronze Age. So that's the theory. It's just a theory that just so happens to fit the facts. So when I was investigating Poverty Point, was I actually walking around in what at one time, 3,000 years ago, was Atlanta, a part of Atlantis?
I think Poverty Point was part of Atlantis, or like an annex of Atlantis.
Yes. A part of it. That's where they smelted the copper from the ore.
Okay. That does kind of tie together.
Because to get those pure ingots that were found, yeah, in that sunken ship over off Syria, I believe it's where they found it. The only way they traced it back down to Lake Superior. How did Lake Superior copper get in the Mediterranean, in the far eastern end of the Mediterranean, in a ship that sunk 3,000 years ago? How did that even happen? It just goes against everything we're taught in school about our history.
Probably get executed. You talk about it too much. Get suicided.
Yeah, but I haven't had people in the black suits and the white vehicles or the black vehicles come up and open their back doors and throw a suit on me with no ends to the sleeves and tie the sleeves behind me and haul me off.
I've actually heard people seeing them people though, the black SUVs. I've had that. I've heard that from a couple of people.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of expecting more comments because
they're pretty active. They're pretty active at first.
Stuff that I'm talking about. I don't usually go that far.
Well, there's a bit of it's kind of choppy.
This is interesting stuff that I don't know I'm talking about on my show.
It really is. It was the audio was kind of choppy. It might be why. Back and forth there.
Yeah, that's a problem I have with the gamers. That's why my show is at 10, and for my show we're going to have to get off of here so I can start my show because I have not opened up the StreamYard.
We can do that. We can do that.
So I got to go in there and do that.
We can stop right now if you want to.
So
send me
it's your show, and we got a few minutes. So
I typically stop.
What do you want to take? About a 10-minute break between shows?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean,
which was an hour and a half. Hour and a half was 15 minutes ago. So
yeah, I can probably only go to about 11.
So we can.
But I can get plenty in.
Okay.
I don't want to pass out on you because
I don't pay the deluxe amount to StreamYard. So what we can do is just hold my show to 1 minute less than an hour. But it's say 59 minutes and we'll cut it off.
Do they do the hour thing now?
That way I can show for a replay sometime.
I didn't know they did an hour thing.
If you pay what I did, you can record an hour. If you pay them a different amount, you can hour show or 3 or 4 hour show and play it back and they'll record. But I pay the lesser amount, so I can only do 1 hour at a time. It's actually recorded, and I can play it back.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what I pay. I just do it where I can have enough features.
I'm cheap.
Yeah, me too. All right, we'll jump off here and just send me the stuff on chat.
I probably need to pay a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How you want to end your show? We'll see you over at Southern Fried Paranormal. It'll be available on my Southern Fried Paranormal podcast page, which is off the Lynn Dorman profile. Go to Lynn Dorman profile. If we're friends already, you can find it on the Southern Fried Paranormal podcast page. It's just a page off my profile. If we're friends, you can get to it easy. If you can find it on Facebook Live. You can also find it on YouTube Live. Go to my channel. Just type in Lynn Dorman. I've got that check mark where you just type in Lynn Dorman and we'll go to my correct account.
Then it won't go to your old one. I kept finding the old one.
Won't go to my if you're the Chicago Ghost Hunter account, that's an old account. But you just type in Lynn Dorman, Lendorman, just like it is on the screen, and it should take you to my new account, which is SeaArk, SeARK, Lynn Dorman. And SeaArk is in capital letters, PS is in little letters. SeaArk is what we call this whole area of Arkansas. SeaArk stands for Southeast Arkansas, ARK.
I see it now.
And that's how you find the YouTube. Of course, if you go to YouTube, you start watching the show, please like, share, subscribe. And you can do that to Bobby Drizzle's account.
All right, folks. We'll see you over there.